Hello guys and welcome back to TechWolf and to this Comptia Network Plus exam preparation quiz. And by the way, did you know guys that the best way to study for these exams, especially for Comptia exams, I am telling you from my own experience, is by doing these quizzes. As that way you can find your weaknesses and subjects which you need to look up. And also by doing these quizzes you can find or do more research on different questions which you still don't understand. And quizzes are also one of the fastest way to study in general. And when you are researching different subjects by doing quizzes, you are learning much faster rather than watching just some course on YouTube. Okay guys, no further ado, let's get into it and let's start with first question, and it is: what is the primary function of a router? Assign IP addresses, filter network traffic, connect devices with a LAN or local area network, forward packets between networks. And here the correct answer is forward packets between networks, as routers are forwarding packets between networks. Routers direct traffic between different networks, e.g. LAN to WAN, using IP addresses, unlike switches on local area network or LAN or DHCP servers, which are used for assigning IP addresses. Which layer of the OSI model handles IP addressing? Layer 4, Layer 2, Layer 3, or Layer 1? And the correct answer here is Layer 3. As Layer 3, network layer, manages logical addressing and routing such as IP addresses. Layer 2 uses MAC addresses, Layer 1 is physical, and Layer 4 handles ports. What is the default subnet mask for Class C IP address? 255.255.255.255, 255.255.255.0, 255.255.0.0, or 255.0.0.0. So, which is the default subnet mask for Class C IP address? And here the correct answer is 255.255.255.0. And Class C addresses, which start with 192.0.0.0 and continue up to 223.255.255.255, uses a CIDR /24 subnet mask, which is the same as 255.255.255.0, allowing 256 addresses, where 254 of these addresses are usable addresses. And here is the scenario: a small office can't access the internet after a storm. What should you check first? Physical cable connections, router configuration, DNS server, or firewall settings? And here the correct answer is physical cable connections. To start troubleshooting with the physical layer, Layer 1, a storm might have damaged the disconnected cables, so check those first. Which protocol encrypts web traffic? HTTPS, SMTP, HTTP, or FTP? And here's the correct answer: if we are hearing web traffic, that would be HTTP or HTTPS. But if we are talking about encryption, then we would use secure version of HTTP, which is HTTPS. As HTTPS uses SSL, TLS to encrypt HTTP traffic, ensuring secure web communication, and TLS is the newer version of SSL. What is the maximum speed of Cat5e cable? 100 megabits per second, 40 gigabits per second, 1 gigabit per second, or 10 gigabits per second? And here the correct answer is 1 gigabit per second, as Cat5e supports up to 1 gigabit per second over 100 meters, an improvement over Cat5 with 100 megabits per second. Which device operates at OSI Layer 2? Gateway, router, switch, or firewall? And here the correct answer is switch, as switch is the Layer 2 device. and switches uses MAC addresses layer 2 to forward frames within a LAN or local area network. Routers operate at layer 3. What does DHCP stand for? Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, Data Handling Configuration Process, Direct Host Communication Protocol, or Domain Host Control Protocol. And here the correct answer is Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. And DHCP dynamically assigns IP addresses and network settings to devices. And here is a scenario. A user reports slow internet. You discover the IP is 169.254.1.10. What is the issue? DHCP server unavailable, firewall blocking traffic, DNS failure, or router misconfiguration. And here you should also know straight away that address which starts with 169.254, this is a PIPA address, and if there is internet problem, then this is related to this PIPA address, as they are only working within local area network and are not usable outside the network. And the problem most likely is DHCP server is unavailable. The 169.254 range, a PIPA, indicates the device couldn't reach DHCP server and self-assigned an IP address. Which wireless standard supports speeds up to 9.6 gigabits per second? 802.11ax, 802.11ac, 802.11n, or 802.11g? And here the correct answer is 802.11ax. As 802.11ax, which is also known as Wi-Fi 6, supports up to 9.6 gigabits per second. 802.11ac tops at 1.3 gigabits per second and 802.11n at 600 megabits per second. What port does SSH use? 21, 80, 22 or 23? And the correct answer here is 22. SSH Secure Shell uses port 22 for secure remote access. Which cable type is immune to EMI? Fiber optic, UTP, STP, or coaxial? And here the correct answer is fiber optic, as fiber optic cables use light, not electricity, making them immune to electromagnetic interference. What is the purpose of NAT? Filter packets, encrypt network traffic, translate private IPs to public IPs, or assign MAC addresses? And the correct answer here is translate private IPs to public IPs. Network address translation NAT allows multiple devices to share a single public IP. And here is another scenario. A company's VoIP phones drop calls frequently. What might be the cause? DNS misconfiguration, insufficient bandwidth, faulty NIC, or incorrect subnet mask? And here we should know straight away that VoIPs, in some scenarios, they are set up with the same computers, and they might be using the same bandwidth for computer, or for example for computer to access internet, and for VoIP for making calls. And if they are not configured properly, this means that VoIP would have assigned its own bandwidth on switch, and the internet access would have assigned its own bandwidth on switch. Then there would be most likely insufficient bandwidth problem. So insufficient bandwidth would be the correct answer. VoIP requires consistent bandwidth. Insufficient capacity can cause jitter or dropped calls. Which protocol resolves domain names to IP addresses? DNS, DHCP, ARP, or SNMP? And here the correct answer is DNS, Domain Name System. As DNS, Domain Name System translates names like example.com to IP address. What is the maximum distance of Cat6 cable at 10 gigabits per second? 300 meters, 150 meters, 55 meters, and 100 meters. And here you should also know that Cat6 cables at 10 gigabits per second would be only 55 meters, as Cat6 cables supports 10 gigabits per second up to 55 meters. Beyond that, it drops 1 gigabit per second up to 100 meters. Which device connects different network types? So here we are talking about different network types: switch, gateway, router, or bridge. And when we are talking about different network types, we are not talking about switch, we are talking about gateway, as gateways are connecting different network types. And a gateway connects dissimilar networks, e.g. LAN to WAN, often functioning as a router with additional protocol translation. What does VLAN stand for? Virtual Local Area Network, Virtual Link Aggregation Network, Variable Length Access Node, or Voice LAN. And here the correct answer is Virtual Local Area Network. A VLAN segments a network logically without additional hardware. So on one switch you can create multiple VLANs. And here is the scenario: a server is unreachable by its hostname but works with its IP. What's the likely issue? Incorrect gateway, DNS resolution failure, firewall blocking ICMP, or DHCP failure. And here the correct answer is DNS resolution failure. If the IP works but the hostname doesn't, DNS isn't resolving the name to the IP. Which port does HTTPS use? 110, 80, 443, or 25? And the correct answer here is 443. As HTTPS uses port 443 for secure web traffic over SSL TLS. What is the purpose of a subnet mask? Route packets, assign IP addresses, define network and host portions of an IP, or encrypt data. And here the correct answer is define network and host portions of an IP. As subnet mask separates an IP into network and host segments for routing. Which tool tests cable continuity? Cable tester, toner probe, multimeter, or punch-down tool? And here the correct answer is cable tester, as cable testers test cables. A cable tester checks for continuity and correct wiring in network cables. What is the frequency range of an 802.11ac? 6 GHz, 5 GHz only, 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz, or 2.4 GHz only? And here the correct answer is 5 GHz only, as 802.11ac operates solely on the 5 GHz band for higher speeds and less interference. And here is another scenario: a user can't connect to Wi-Fi after entering the correct password. What's the next step? Update the firmware, reboot the router, verify the SSID, and check the wireless channel. And here the correct answer is verify the SSID, as the user might be connecting to the wrong network. Confirming the SSID ensures they are on the right one. Which protocol sends email? IMAP, SMTP, POP3, or SNMP? And here the correct answer is SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, as it sends email while POP3 and IMAP retrieve it. What does QoS stand for? Query standards, quantified output speed, quality of service, or quick operating system. And here the correct answer is quality of service. As QoS prioritizes network traffic for better performance, e.g. VoIP over file downloads. Which IP address is loopback address 192.168.1.1, 172.16.0.1, 127.0.0.1 or 10.0.0.1? And here you should know that correct answer is 127.0.0.1, as this is the loopback address used to test local network communication. What is the purpose of firewall? Encrypt data, boost signal strength, assign IP addresses, or filter network traffic. And here you should also know that firewalls are to do with network, so filter network traffic. As firewalls control incoming and outgoing traffic based on rules. And here is a scenario: a network slows down during peak hours. What might help? Increase subnet size, reboot all devices, change the SSID, implement QoS. And here the correct answer would be implement quality of service, or QoS, as QoS can prioritize critical traffic, reducing congestion during a peak usage. Which tool traces the path of packets? Traceroute, ping, NSLOOKUP, or netstat? And here the correct answer, it tells it already here by the name, traces the path, so that is the traceroute. Traceroute or traceRT shows the path packets take to a destination. What does VPA3 improve over VPA2? Security, speed, range, or compatibility? And the correct answer here is security, as VPA3 is encrypted version of VPA2. And VPA3 enhances encryption and authentication for stronger Wi-Fi security. Which cable type supports 40 gigabits per second over long distances? Cat7, Cat6, coaxial, or fiber optic? And here the correct answer is fiber optic. When we are talking about long distances, that would be most likely fiber cables, as fiber optic cable supports high speeds like 4 gigabits per second over kilometers. What is the default gateway's role? Route traffic to external networks, assign IP addresses, encrypt packets, or resolve domain names? And the correct answer here is route traffic to external networks, as the default gateway forwards packets from the LAN or local area network to other networks, e.g. the internet. And here's another scenario. A printer isn't visible on the network. What should you check? DNS settings, printer's IP address, wireless channel, or router firmware? And the correct answer would be printer's IP address, as to ensure the printer has a valid IP and is on the same subnet as other devices. Which port does FTP use for control? 23, 21, 22, or 20? And here you know that with FTP we have two ports. One is for control and one is for file transfers. And here the correct answer would be port 21, as FTP uses port 21 for control commands and port 20 for data transfer. What is a MAC address? A logical network address, a routing protocol, a physical hardware address, or a domain name identifier? And here the correct answer is a physical hardware address, as MAC addresses are unique to network interfaces layer 2. Which protocol monitors network devices? SMTP, HTTP, FTP, or SNMP? And here the correct answer is SNMP. And SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, monitors and manages network devices. And also for your exam, in regards to SNMP protocol, you should know on which ports it runs. So it is ports 161 and 162. So as you should know about all three versions of SNMP. As version 3 of SNMP or Simple Network Management Protocol is the secure or encrypted version, which also provides authentication, where SNMP versions 1 and version 2 doesn't do that. What does the 255.255.255.252 subnet mask indicate? 254 usable hosts, 2 usable hosts, 14 usable hosts, or 6 usable hosts. So, if you would have an IP address with this subnet mask, how many usable hosts would it have? And here the correct answer is 2 usable hosts, as together that would be 4 addresses, but usable would be from those 4 only 2. /30 CIDR mask would be the same as 255.255.255.252. It provides 4 addresses. 2 of these addresses are, one is for network and another one is for broadcast, and 2 would be left usable. Employees complain of Wi-Fi dead zones. What's the solution? Update router's firmware, increase channel widths, add a wireless access point, or change the subnet mask. And here the correct answer would be to add a wireless access. And which topology uses a central hub? Star, mesh, bus, or ring? And this is the question about network topologies, which you should also know for your exam on Network Plus. And here the correct answer would be star, as star topology connects all devices to a central hub or switch. What does ICMP stand for? Integrated Circuit Message Protocol, Internet Control Message Protocol, Internet Connection Monitoring Process, or Internal Communication Management Protocol. And the correct answer here is Internet Control Message Protocol, and this is also used with ping, for example, when you are pinging devices. ICMP is used for diagnostics, e.g. ping. Which device boosts signal strength over long cable runs? So which device boosts signal strength over a long cable runs? Whether it's a gateway, switch, repeater, or router. And here the correct answer is repeater, as repeaters amplify signals to extend cable distance. What is the purpose of port forwarding? Block external traffic, direct external traffic to a specific device, encrypt connections, or assign IP addresses. And here the correct answer is direct external traffic to a specific device. A network has frequent collisions. What might be the issue? Half duplex mode, DNS failure, incorrect gateway, or full duplex mode. And here the correct answer is half duplex mode. Which protocol secures remote access? SSH, HTTP, Telnet, or FTP? And here the correct answer is SSH, as SSH encrypts remote connections unlike Telnet. What does a 10.0.0.0/8 or CIDR 8 address indicate? Private IP range, loopback address, public IP range, or multicast address? And here the correct answer is private IP range, as 10.0.0.0.0 up to 10.255.255.255 is a private range per RFC 1918. Which tool identifies cable's location? Multimeter, loopback plug, toner probe, or cable tester? And here the correct answer is toner probe, as toner probe traces cables by detecting a tone signal. What is the maximum speed of 802.11g? 11 megabits per second, 600 megabits per second, 1.3 gigabits per second, or 54 megabits per second. And here the correct answer is 54 megabits per second, as 802.11g supports up to 54 megabits per second on 2.4 GHz. A VPN user can't access internal resources. What should you check? VPN authentication, wireless signal, cable connections, or DNS settings. And here the correct answer is VPN authentication. Verify credentials or VPN configuration, as this is likely an access issue. Which attack floods a network with traffic? DDoS, man in the middle, spoofing, or phishing? And here the correct answer is DDoS, as a distributed denial of service or DDoS attack overwhelms a network with a traffic. So yes guys, here are another 50 Network Plus questions. If you are interested in more Network Plus quizzes, go to the channel's homepage, click on playlists and find the Network Plus practice test playlist with many more videos on Network Plus. And if you found this video useful, leave a like, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and see you in the next one.